Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Camerascore, where we discuss all things media. And this week, we are back on television. A new show has dropped. I know Marvel had their big hit, but let's get back to DC. What little crumbs us DC fans have. Because being a DC fan is almost like being a Cowboys fan. And if you're a Cowboys fan and you're offended, maybe we can sort it out the next time you win the Super Bowl in 2090, assuming you're still alive. Anyway, let's get right into it with Batman Caped Crusader Season 2, and let's start with the positives.
I've come to awaken you.
To show you
Show me what?
what you are.
So, there are so many positives with this show. Once again, the original creator of Batman probably envisioned it like this. I mean, not exactly like this, but we have a legend in Bruce Timm on here. And the way that they contribute to this can be felt across the board. It's almost akin to the original Batman animated series, with the way that Batman is written, the complexity of the characters, the depth that they reach in each episode, and the themes they explore. From Batman not being a perfect superhero to his villains not being full on criminals. I think the way they explore these gray areas, not necessarily just it being this noir theme, is really, really good here. Another thing that's lacking in a lot of Batman shows is the action. A lot of times the writing will be great and the action will be subpar, or the action will be great, but the writing won't be the greatest. I feel like this one marries the two together perfectly. And I just think it is a joy to see Batman actually have physical combat prowess, throwing punches and kicks while still being an intelligent detective. And I think that is a very, very hard to come by a lot of times. One of my favorites is the Batman because of how he truly is a master of combat, even while being intelligent. I do love the original animated series, but he was getting punched on by basic goons and thugs. In this one, he does get hit, but it takes 5 or 6 to put him down. And I feel like the combat is just displayed so much more effectively here and so much more creatively and more entertaining in this show. Now, I'm not saying it's better than the original, but I'm saying it has a lot of what made that first one so, so great. It really is true. Batman and Superman are the only things DC can really get right now. I mean, there's the absolute comics. If you read, a lot of people don't do that anymore. But if you do read, you know how great those are going. But I'm talking about things with actual voices to them and moving pictures, as one would call it. And this show is no exception to the streak of Batman being good. It really just is what it is. We've had Flash, we've had maybe one good Wonder Woman film. A lot falls short. But like I said, this is not one of those ones. This is one of the ones that delivers exceptional work, creating these different storylines for the villains that you commonly know, grounding them more in reality, and even when it's not reality, still making them extremely convincing. In this season, we get a real look at the Joker, and he has this foreign accent and this genius calculating persona, which is always behind the surface level, except this time it's more pronounced. It's interesting because Absolute Batman has this similar concept of a very intelligent but very kept together, very minute detailed Joker. He's not the big laughs and smiles that you're used to. He's almost moving calculated, very minimal with his actions and not speaking too much, only laughing at certain specific moments. We literally only hear him laugh one time. The rest, he is stone cold serious. And I think that's really cool to see these parallels between Absolute Universe Joker and this one as well. Now, there are a lot of differences if you've read the comic between this Joker and that Joker, but it is cool to see Joker with almost a serious outlook to him, a serious desire to corrupt and destroy the city, not completely fueled by rage and chaos. It's really cool. And then Harley Quinn and Scarecrow, all the different villains you see in this season are executed differently, but really, really well. Another one that really was cool was Poison Ivy. I won't spoil how she's implemented, but the way that she's done in this show is different than I've ever seen, but still exceptionally cool. It's not necessarily your high plant controlling powers, but she does something else That is really, really cool. And I am excited to talk to people about this and for more people to see this show. Amazon does have a level of quality. Outside of all the other things they do, they have some great television. I mean, we have Invincible, we have Fallout. Now this is up there with one of those greats. There's others that I'm missing, but you get the point. The only negatives with this show are
You fight the inevitable.
You might as well beg water not to be wet.
You murdered these men.
And many, many others. There are always more.
I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna stop you.
The mayor dies in 27 minutes. That will only be the beginning.
Of what?
the only negatives I'd say are in this show are in keeping what I was saying with being true to form with Batman, him losing to people he shouldn't lose to. There are more than a few times where they kind of want to display the fact that he does need help. So the way he loses isn't the most convincing, or people will get the jump on him in a way that kind of doesn't really make sense for who he is as a character in order to display that someone else saves him, be it Barbara Gordon or maybe a trusty sidekick. It's things like that that kind of take away from it a little bit for me, as well as a little bit of the inconsistency with his damage. It almost looks like he puts bandages on and is just back together. Now, I know it's a comic book show, but the problem is when he gets damaged because of those moments where they want you to believe he needs help from someone else. It's fine for him to lose, I'm okay with that, but it's how he loses and the help he receives in order to defeat these individuals. Another thing, this might be depending how much of a Batman purist you are or not. Bro just be letting people die. I've never seen Batman behave in this manner, letting people get impaled, fall off of things, and yes, to a certain extent, he can't save everyone. But his lack of even care for sometimes, the way he attacks these villains, impaling them with objects sometimes, I'm like, damn, bro. But I can't fault him because this does harken back to the way Batman was at this time. This man actually hung someone from a biplane in one of his comics. It's a very famous panel. So maybe they are harkening back to where Batman doesn't kill, but he doesn't necessarily try to save you completely either. You know, if you swing at him, miss, and fall into a vat of something, it is your fault. And I guess in this case, he's not necessarily inclined to care about it. Now, that is a little interesting, another gray area that they've implemented in this. And it does go well with how he views Alfred Pennyworth, his butler, who he kind of treats just like the help sometimes, but then other times he acknowledges him, embraces him as, a companion, a friend. Now, it is interesting at the end of last season, they kind of addressed him only seeing him as the help, but there's still those moments in this one where he still calls him just Pennyworth, or he'll switch to Alfred, and I feel like that's a little odd and inconsistent. And I think overall, to summarize the things that I don't like about this show, are just some of the inconsistencies. Fights he shouldn't lose, damage he takes that doesn't really make sense, or relationships that are a little interesting and explored, but not enough for the 10 episodes that we have. But I'm just here for the camera score. And for this, it's going to be 9 batarangs thrown at unfortunate mental ill patients out of 10. And I feel like this show is really the embodiment of a different take on Batman, but one that is still 95% true to form. Just done exceptionally well with great stories, great characters, and great growth for the titular character himself. It's always interesting when they do these shows. They show Batman as the detective, as the martial arts individual, but they never talk about him as a person, a scarred little boy running around in a bat suit, attempting to solve crimes and help people. And I feel like they really, really acknowledge that both in this season and the last one, and I think that's what makes it great overall. But you let me know. Did you like the show? Did you hate all the changes of characters that people find so controversial? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.